operation in the Donbas region yesterday morning. But immediately after that, minutes after that, there were missiles that started to rain down on Ukrainian cities. Now, Vladimir Putin claims that this military operation is to demilitarize the former Soviet nation. The declaration, of course, came at a time when the world had sat down to try and find a diplomatic solution at the United Nations Security Council. The West has promised that the Russian president will be held accountable for his actions and has now started to implement sanctions that will create some kind of a financial deterrence for Russia to back off. But are these financial sanctions enough? Has the West done enough in terms of making Russia pay? Our next report gets you the details.
Putin chose this war, and now he and his country will bear the consequences.
U.S. President Joe Biden unveiled harsh new sanctions against Russia on Thursday after Moscow launched an all-out invasion of Ukraine, imposing measures to impede Russia's ability to do business in the global economy.
We've now sanctioned Russian banks that together hold around $1 trillion in assets. We've cut off Russia's largest bank, a bank that holds more than 1/3 of Russia's banking assets by itself, cut it off from the U.S. financial system. And today, we're also blocking 4 more major banks. That means every asset they have in America will be frozen.
Biden said the sanctions were designed to have a long-term impact on Russia and to minimize the impact on the United States and its allies. And he said Washington was prepared to do more.
This is going to take time, and we have to show resolve so he knows what's coming. And so the people of Russia know what he's brought on them. That's what this is all about.
His announcement represented the second major tranche of sanctions against Russia, and Biden warned personally sanctioning Russian President Vladimir Putin was still an option.
These powers will enable us.
Adding to the latest round of Western penalties, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson unveiled new measures targeting banks, members of Putin's inner circle, and the very wealthy who enjoy high-rolling London lifestyles to, quote, maximize the economic price Putin will pay. Adding Putin will be condemned by history.
Now we see him for what he is, a blood-stained aggressor who believes in imperial conquest.
What wasn't part of Thursday's tranche of sanctions, cutting off Russia from SWIFT, the interbank messaging network that is the backbone of international finance.
The sanctions that we proposed on all their banks are of equal consequence, maybe more consequence than SWIFT, number one. Number two, it is always an option, but right now that's not the position that the rest of Europe wishes to take.
Describing Thursday's onslaught as a dangerous moment for Europe, Biden said he authorized troops that have been placed on standby to deploy to Germany to defend NATO allies, stressing that Putin's actions have made him a pariah on the international stage.
Putin's aggression against Ukraine will end up costing Russia dearly, economically and strategically. We will make sure of that.
So what will be the American response, and how will, of course, Russia, how has it prepared to deal with these sanctions? Chris Megarian from Associated Press gets us more details.
President Biden came out today at the White House to outline stiff sanctions that he wants to use to punish the Kremlin for the invasion of Ukraine. These sanctions, he says, have gone farther than anything the United States has done in the past in hopes of showing that Russia's aggression will not be tolerated and will not succeed in the long run. This is not the full force of what the Biden administration has prepared. Some steps like sanctioning Vladimir Putin personally have not been taken at this point. And President Biden basically said that we're going to see how this goes, see what happens next, and maybe roll out more in the future. And what they're arguing is that we have to kind of keep pace with Russia's actions as Russia continues more essentially put in place. They don't want to escalate a situation, but they want to try to have a firm punishment as this war continues.
Now, until Wednesday evening, the people of Ukraine were, of course, going about their daily routine as normal, but their lives have turned on their heads in a matter of hours. They were seen running for cover, struggling for survival. According to reports that have now come in, at least 137 people have died in the first day of fighting. Scores of others have been injured, and thousands are fleeing the country. The highways are now choked with traffic, and there were long queues that were witnessed outside of banks and ATMs. Now, the missile strikes by the Russians, of course, continue on Ukraine. So the question, of course, is, How has Ukraine prepared for this? Our next report gets you the details.
Tanks, helicopters, missiles, and troops all descended upon Ukraine this morning. Civilian apartments were bombed. Military command centers were hit. International flights diverted their routes. And the people of Ukraine were forced to flee. These visuals are from Kyiv, which has been gripped by panic. Terrified citizens are huddling in groups, waiting for the next bus to take them away.
I'm going to my parents. They are living in the middle of Ukraine, and I think it's safer there.
The city's streets are choked with traffic. Everywhere you turn, there's a long line of cars on their way out of the capital.
I myself am from Lviv. The mood is patriotic. I will take my children away and return. We will fight this off. Ukraine will win no matter what.
Where exactly are these people going? Most of them are headed to stay with their relatives in safer cities. Others are crossing over into Poland, too scared to risk their lives by staying back.
Really, we are feeling bad because it was unexpected, and we all want peace and quiet. We don't want war. Please, stop, because people suffer from it, and we must go out of the country because we have no other choice. But we are students. We have some obligations to study.
Those who have stayed back have taken shelter in their homes. They're sharing videos of Russian bombardments, expressing their disbelief at the turn of events.
Kyiv is full of smoke. This is a city center. Every 5 minutes, bomb is dropping by Russian army.
On the front line, Ukrainian soldiers are equally startled. One such soldier shared this video, telling his parents how much he loved them.
Короче, нас поебашили зраду. Хорошо, что все живи пока. Если что, мама, папа, я вас люблю. Все будет нормально.
In the city of Kharkiv, many have lined up outside hospitals. They're donating blood to create reserves for exceptional situations. The hospital says at this moment it's not clear how much blood reserves Ukraine might need.
We are forming reserves. At the moment, we are forming reserves, but whether they'll suffice or not, I can't tell as of now.
In the city of Mariupol, the situation is the most devastating. Located right next to Russia's border, it was rocked by explosions throughout the day. Scores of people were injured. One such resident who was injured in an explosion gave a chilling account of the trauma she experienced.
I never thought that such a thing could happen. I never thought that this would truly happen in this lifetime. I wrote poems about the war. I myself am a director and educator. We studied the history, but we never thought that this would happen on our land. The house is completely destroyed. There are no windows, no doors. One door even flew out. Even the floor has been completely ripped off. I'm just very lucky. I must have a very strong guardian angel for me to have stayed alive.
The situation right now is truly a nightmare for the people of Ukraine. One day they were going about their daily lives. Another day they are fighting for survival. What have they done to deserve this? Well, too many of them demanded a future that looked to the west and not towards Moscow. And that is their only crime.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app.